So which of these Lighted Nocks is going to make it into which tier? Stay tuned to find out. All right, Predators, real quick, I wanted to talk about Lighted Nocks, and so I've got a few of them here. These right here, on all of these arrows right here, are the Crafted Archery Bright Eyes. These are the ones I've been using for almost a year now, and I absolutely love these things, especially these purple ones, because these things are just insanely bright, and they fit good in the arrow. And so let's talk real quick about Lighted Nocks. And so you can see I've got a variety of different kinds here. I've got some of different styles. I've got the Burt Coyote Luminox. I've got a couple, one that I tried to repair, and a couple of them I tried to repair and make them work. I've got some more of the Bright Eyes here. I've got the, this is the very common ones you see a lot of the Nocturnals. That's what both of these are. And so I just wanted to talk real quick about the different styles, of Lighted Nocks, which ones are good and which ones are bad, and not just why they're bad or why they're not as good, but why they're not as good. So these things that you really want to look for, and whenever you're looking at a Lighted Nock, is you want to look at the function of them, how they turn on and how they turn off. You want to look at the battery life, obviously. One of the most important things about a Lighted Nock is to make sure that it's going to fit the arrow shaft properly. So real quick, I'll just show you. I've got the end of a broken arrow shaft here. I ended up hitting a Robin Hood and breaking it. But anyways, what you want to make sure that the battery and everything fits down into the shaft well. You can see this Burt Coyote Luminox here is like the battery actually exploded on me, just from age, I think. But anyways, you want to make sure, let's grab a different one. You want to make sure that it fits down in the arrow shaft properly. So this portion right here, like I say, it's very important that this portion right here be very flush. And also the shorter that the nock is, I feel like the more accurate it's gonna be, okay? So anyways, one thing that you can see here is, like, I've got these right here. I did a video on these not too long ago, these nocks, and I wasn't a fan of them, okay? And there's a few reasons why. This whole portion is made out of a flexible plastic, and so whenever they fit down in there, you can see compared to, let's grab a Nocturnal. So you can see the portion that fits down inside the arrow is about the same length, but you see how much more nock you've got sticking out here with these. What that's going to do is that's going to allow for more play. So if there's any kind of lateral force applied to the nock there, it's going to flex more. Not only that, but it makes your arrow essentially longer on the backside, which I'm not a fan of. I want to have as short as nock as possible. And so that's why I've been a big fan of these. Again, the Bright Eyes is because they're about the same length as the, at least to the throat, right? So from the collar here that sets on the end of the arrow shaft to the throat right there of the nock, it's almost identical. Okay, I hope my iPhone's picking this up properly. So again, from the collar to the throat is almost identical. The Bright Eyes here has a little bit longer neck on the end of the nock here. But like I say, from the collar to the throat is the real important part. So basically the Night Eyes here, like I said, they have probably the best activation and deactivation that you can get on one of these nocks. And it's basically just a little switch. So there's a internal button here that turns it on. This one's dead because I left it on in my bow case for like 3 days or so straight on, and it'll kind of turn on, but it's like, I don't know if you can see that. It's really, really dim. It was on for like 3 days straight though. Its battery life is good. That's a good thing. So this is much easier to turn on and off. I've just got a little switch there. And so after I've shot my shot, I can just grab this and I can flip that up and then it turns it off. With the Nocturnals, I've got to do it like this. I've got to stick something up inside of this little hole here. There's a little tiny hole right there. I got to stick something inside of there and then wedge it up. There we go. See, I'm kind of clumsy with that. Now, the one thing I really did like about this one here was that you can see it's glitching on and off, is that this is really easy to turn on and off, okay? But this function, this actuation of it here, requires this part here to be longer, and which I didn't like that. Now, what I did like about this is that you got this little collar here, and I can turn this collar, and I can make it to where the Lighted Nocks will not activate. That's good, right? That's a good feature here. And so if I turn that collar again, I'll try to get you some close-up shots of all this stuff too. Now it'll activate. But again, great technology, but this, not a fan of that, okay? Now, let's talk about another activation method here, and that's these Luminocks. So this right here is really interesting, and these are actually meant for a larger arrow. This is a micro diameter arrow. But basically what these do is they fit down inside the shaft, and what they do is this sits in here, and then as the nock is shifted downwards, then it will activate and it'll make contact with the battery. And then to get it out, to turn it off, you just pull this up and it'll break that connection with the battery. So it's the string pushes it on and then you pull it off. The problem I have with these is that I would often pull it out of my arrow completely in order to get it to shut off. And look how huge and how long this thing is. They're massive and they weigh a ton. So let's do that. Let's talk about the weights of the different Lighted Nocks here. So I got a beautiful, cheap little scale here. So we're gonna turn this on. All right, so let's weigh the first one. So this is the Burt Coyote Luminock. 26 grains. That's a heavy ass nock system. Let's weigh this one now. This is the, again, I forgot the name of the brand. Was it Knock something? Bright Knock? I don't know. I'll put a tag down below and I'll tell you what it is. I'll put that on there. 21.6. So it's a little better. Now we've got the Nocturnal, is so many knock words. 14.0. So these are pretty good. That's really not bad. Let's see, we got another Luminock here. It's a different color. Yeah, 14.5, so they're consistent. And then this one here is 14.0. So the Bright Eyes are 14. These are the lightest of them all. So different color here, that's 13.8. 13.8. 13.8. So that's another thing that's very important, is consistency. You can see I just measured 4 of these. Hey, let's go do the fifth. 13.8. So I got 4 of these, and they're all exactly the same weight. That is incredibly important. So that way, you know, when you put it on your arrow, it's actually going to be consistent with all the other arrows. So turn these off. I just flip a little switch. Super easy. I'm just using my thumbnail. Easy off. As long as you remember to do it. I really suggest you go try them out because they are, I think, a really good balance of weight. Sorry, get the right ones here. So these are a really good balance of weight, battery life, and function. And again, these sit, again, let me get my little pointer here. These sit inside the arrow shaft very flush. So let me show you. So they sit very well in the arrow shaft. So it's a nice tight fit. It's not too tight where I can't get it back out. So this right here is very flush. And one thing I recommend everybody do too is we're always really good about squaring up the ends of our arrows. One thing I recommend too for these Lighted Nocks, or any nock really for that point, is I recommend that you use something like this. This is the G5, same people as makes prime bows, G5 ASD flip, and this allows you to, it's an arrow squaring tool, so I can take out my nock. Even with the fletches on, I can put this on the end here, rotate it, and I can square up the end of that. This arrow is kind of broken, so I'm just doing it for example, but I can square up the end of that nock end of the arrow as well, right? So that whenever I put my nock inside the arrow, it's going to fit flush. I don't want it fitting like this where there's a little bit tight of a gap there. I want it to fit nice and tight so there's no gap in there. And that's going to make sure that the the knock isn't flexing inside of there. Okay, so it should fit really nice and flush in there. That's the goal. That's what you want. Okay, so the first we got here we're going to judge is this. This is the Burke Coyote Luminock, and I know they've made some improvements in the recent years, but this has been pretty much the same design for a long time. So where does this land in here? So it's heavier than all the other Lighted Nocks. It's longer than all the other Lighted Nocks. It's pretty fragile as this battery. I've had a couple of these batteries come flying out and go rocketing down to the tip of my arrow. I'll give it plus points because I love orange, but you know, it's not that bright. But also that it's got a very nice tight collar here. And also it's got a very short collar to throat distance here. So I'll give it a few points, but overall, man, just within these 5 knocks here, I've got to give this one a B tier. All right, next we've got this right here. So this is the, God, I keep forgetting the name of this one because it was so depressing when I reviewed it. So pros, I'll give the pros first. Easy activation. It's a fairly bright knock, which is good. And it's got this collar system that allows you to lock it out so you don't accidentally activate it. So good features, but very little in the arrow shaft here. It's got this little bit that sticks outside the arrow shaft, what I was not a fan of. So we're gonna give this guy, oh, also they pull apart really easy. So we're gonna give this guy F tier, pretty bad. So the bright eyes, so these are one of the brightest ones. They're right next to the Nocturnals over here. Love the purple color. They've got several different colors, lots of color options, which is good. I think the Nocturnals mostly come in like the orange, green, and red, and I think they've got like a multicolor one or something like that. All the stores around me, all of the stores only carry the green and the red though, so you know I can't give them too many points for that. But lots of options, pretty decent throat to knock distance here, easy activation, good battery life. I've had no issues with the battery life here. Again, I had it on for 3 days inside my bow case and it's still activated. Durable, they last, they don't have a lot of flex to them like some of these F tier ones here. So we're gonna go ahead and give this S tier. You know I'm biased, all right, but I love that thing, so good job. Also, man, I can't underestimate how awesome the switch is. See, this one is kind of dim. This is that one that was in my bow case for 3 days straight on. So you got the switch to easily activate and deactivate it. Love that. All in all, S tier. Love it. Great knock all around. And I'm going to keep using this knock. Even though the battery's dead on it, still makes a great practice knock. And it's the right weight. It's the lightest one of the most durable. Again, just checks all the boxes, man. And that leaves this one right here, which I'm going to give the A tier to the Nocturnals. They're actually really good knocks. They're very similar design. Only couple faults I can point out is that there's a lot of neck back here behind the throat of the knock, which it sticks out past the string quite a bit. It is got a very difficult activation method, and you know they're good though because they're lightweight, they're short, they don't stick way down in the arrow shaft, they fit tight, and they're fairly durable. So if they had a better activation and deactivation method, and the batteries lasted just a little bit longer than these, they would be up there in the S tier too. But that goes to that. So there you go, guys. So guys, this was just a brief video talking about Lighted Nocks and what is important. And yeah, check them out, guys. If you get a link in the description below, these are the Bright Eyes from Crafted Archery. I would suggest you go check them out. They are really bright. The purple looks really good at night. They also have them in the green. They have yellow. They have a bunch of others. But go check them out, guys, because I think they are some of the best lighted nocks on the market, and they're some of the best priced nocks on the market too. So won't break the bank. Get a good deal. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, keep defying the odds.